Well, we're back. Uh,
Welcome.
yeah, we're at Ash Anvil. This is our second stream.
Yeah.
Uh, Heath, Derek, Mike. We're starting number two. We're excited for this, and this is actually this week. It's Penelope.
Penelope. Yep.
It's going to be the Penelope cigar blend, which kind of goes hand in hand. So we don't know the cigar yet, but we'll have to taste the
Right.
um, taste the taste the bourbon. You'll have to figure that one out, right?
Right. And I've never even seen a bottle before, so I'm excited to sample this and try this and see what we think.
So I mean, have you had this before?
No, this is the first time I've had it. So
No. I've actually someone gave me a little pour of it. I had it with cigar, and it was pretty cool. It was,
Yeah.
it actually, the cigar changed the complexion of the bourbon. I picked up different notes on the tongue, so maybe the cigar is opening up some taste buds.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited to try it out and to see what we get from it. So
Yeah, we since our last live again, we've been figuring out. We're probably going to do this every couple weeks. Just a small heads up that we are we've already planning our next one too. So our next one will be here at Ash Anvil. It will be we are going to be honoring first responders and the military. So if you are in the Kansas area, Kansas City area, south and Gardner, Kansas, or even close, you can stop by. We're gonna have a lot of donations and merch donations and drawings. I think it's gonna be pretty cool.
yeah,
Two
absolutely.
boys and a tea has been busy working and making a whole lot of merch, and we're not gonna let the cat out of the bag yet. But I will tell you that the bourbon that we will be having is pretty spectacular. It's all about veterans,
Yep.
and it's about veteran-owned company that really gives a lot back to the first responder and veteran community
Yeah.
and military community. So they're jumped on board, and they're sending us a whole bunch. So I think that will be it will be spectacular. But again, we can't pass on Penelope. Penelope has also your distributor has provided us some pretty cool things.
Yeah.
You see, we got a barrel here.
Standard Beverage took care of us and sent us some swag to use during the video today, and some stuff for me to use at my bar next door, and it's taking care of us for this. So I'm excited about that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, those guys are great.
Yeah.
We do think. Well, I knew where I was going when I started this, but we're excited for this. So we're just going to continue to do this, and hopefully that you find this not only entertaining but also educational. I know last time it was for me when it comes to the cigar, learning about that, and also the bourbon too. So are you all good? We ready to go here? So let's not forget. Hey, Bourbon Bros KC, we are back. So we are going to be pairing a secret cigar that we don't know yet with Penelope cigar blend, the new cigar blend out that Penelope has.
Chapter 1.
Chapter
Yep.
1. So a little history on that at all? Have we done any research on
I
this?
haven't done a lot of research. I mean, this is 101 proof. It doesn't say much about when it was blended and how. Obviously, it's blended to smoke with a cigar. But yeah, I don't know. It didn't give a lot of information on exactly what the details were behind it. Maybe they're keeping a secret for chapter 2.
Yeah,
Maybe, yeah.
chapter. Hopefully, chapter 2 will be a
Yeah.
little more ready.
But-
This is a hard bottle to find.
Right.
So I will tell you that I spent a lot of time driving around looking for it, and I finally ran into one. So a little bit of a hookup.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I went all over the world and haven't seen any. So
I'm
That's
excited
right.
you
It's a hard
guys
one to
brought a
find.
bottle.
Yeah,
I'm
hard one to
excited you
find.
brought a bottle.
Yeah, he spent the last 4 days traveling
Out of town,
all over the South, and he found a lot of bottles, but not that one.
no,
So that
I
tells
didn't even
us.
see one. So
No.
yeah,
So
we'll see.
hey, just something for you that are you're watching us on live. We have some merch to give away. So there's a form where you can you can click, enter your name and information so we know where we would send it. And we're going to do some random draws during the live. And we'd love to send you some stuff. So we've got some pretty cool stuff. Penelope sent us some stuff.
Yes.
Two Boys in the Tea brandish us with some pretty cool stuff. So
Yeah.
stay on, keep the live going, and again, maybe you can win something. And I mean, if that's important, I mean, I love to win stuff. So
Yeah. Also, if you have questions or comments, throw them down below. We'll answer them as they come up, and
Yeah.
kind of go from there. So
Yeah, we got something we learned from last video is we've got a screen here so we can watch the comments and play along as we go. So
yeah, absolutely. In fact, I think someone on here, Rabbi Moses, he's on here,
Yep.
and he won some merch last week. He came in to get it, and I think he was impressed. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't fool around.
He should tell us if he's impressed. Throw it down there. Tell us if you're
I
impressed.
think he did right there.
Did he?
He put on there, Rabbi Moses, good merch. So.
Nice.
Dwayne, welcome to the live. Appreciate you. I'm pushing for you, buddy. But yeah, I think do we want to get this thing going?
Let's do it. So I've already
Sure.
pre-poured us. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
have right.
Yeah,
So,
take your
and I will say from your distributor, we got some
nice
good
little Glencairns.
Penelope. These are cool. These are very cool. So,
These are cool. Yeah.
all right. Well, let's try this and.
So what do you think? I don't get a ton of stuff off the nose.
Yeah, I'm not picking up a lot of alcohol, right? I'm not picking
No.
up a strong alcohol.
Just get a lot of spice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not getting anything that's overwhelming. Like your
No.
typical bourbon notes. You're not getting anything there.
No.
That's right. So
No, I'm not a bourbon expert, but this smells like spice, right? That's what I get
Yeah.
off of it. It's just some like oaky,
yeah.
and then I don't know, maybe like an allspice more than like a pepper spice.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
A little bit of heat. Now, what's it? It's only 101 proof,
101
right?
proof, yeah.
101 proof. Yeah. So, just some little something about Penelope, right? I mean, they started in 2018, right?
Yeah.
It's family. In fact, I don't know. We can watch on some of the.
Throw out the trivia question. Let's hear the trivia question. See if anyone knows in the chat.
All right. So, obviously in the chat. So Penelope, where does the original name come from? So there's an easy answer, but then there's an answer that it's not that it's simple,
Yeah.
but there's a little bit behind that answer
Oh.
too.
A
So
little more
So
to
bonus
it.
points.
yeah, bonus points, right?
like it.
So Ken Finkel from Canada, welcome to the live. Appreciate you coming on in. So I guess you're probably still not buying anything.
I didn't know the internet went all the way to Canada, so
Yeah.
I'm glad Ken's here.
I imagine you're probably still not buying anything American-made whiskeys or anything in Canada.
I think they're hiding them all.
You're hiding them all.
They're hiding them all up there.
Yeah, when I think I don't know. We'll see if they'll take it back. I mean, they've already paid for it, then they put it away, right? So
Right.
that's okay.
The thing is, it doesn't go bad.
We love Canada. So all right, so
All right.
we want to try this.
I'll try
Do
Okay.
it.
Cheers, boys. Spice is right. Very spicy.
Yeah.
But it's not a lot of heat on the back.
No.
But
All the heat's on the front of my palate.
Absolutely, I
Right.
agree 100%.
Yeah.
It's good. I mean,
Yeah, it's got a great flavor.
you getting anything besides the rice spice in there?
really not. It's just
I mean, that's the main.
it's
I'm
you know
getting
it's
that rice spice,
it's definitely strong on the front
Yeah.
palate.
Yeah.
Right.
It's again, it drinks like 101 proof on the backside. It's not. There's no really burn.
Yeah.
It's good. It goes down pretty easy. So, what do you guys think? These are cool. I love these Glencairns. These are very
Yeah, these
cool.
are sweet. These are cool.
Except they need to be like this big. Right? So, but no, that's very good.
Much like the nose, I mean, that oaky, and like I said, I'm not a bourbon expert at all,
No,
but
yeah.
that oakiness is really in the forefront. So that spice, what you're calling rye spice, and that oak is just like right there,
Yeah.
right on the front of my palate.
Yeah. So I'm going to be very interested to see how the cigar changes the flavor of this. Because, I mean, obviously this is designed to smoke with a cigar.
Correct.
And get the full flavor out of that. And that's what I mean, anytime you buy a cigar blend, that's what you're supposed to do is smoke a cigar because you're going to get a totally different profile. But it's a very mild, straightforward, not your typical sweet bourbon or anything like that.
No, not at all. I mean, you're not getting any. You're not going to put this on ice cream for sure, right?
No,
it's
this is
not,
not.
doesn't have
This,
that sweet.
Shout out to the Havana series. It's not a sweet.
Yeah, it's not.
Sweet drink.
It's not ice cream Penelope,
Yeah.
right? Like Rio or Havana,
Yeah.
right? But it's good. It drinks really easy, right?
Yeah.
Again, the initial on the front was, wow, it kind of woke you up a little bit. But I think then after the few pours, it's not like that. Now I'm getting a little bit of heat on the back. It's just, and I got that oak, right? You're getting that little oaky from the barrel type on the back. So as we sit here, what do you? I guess let's ask this question: when you're drinking something like this, how do you? What's your thinking? Like, okay, I'm going to pair this with a cigar. I mean, if it's does the cigar change that if it's like a sweet, or if it's a really strong, if you're getting a lot of burn, maybe it's 130 proof something.
Right.
I mean, what goes through your mind when I'm going to say, you know what, I think this cigar would pair well with that?
All right. So for me, when I'm going to pair cigar with anything, whether it's bourbon or it's beef jerky, which we've done here in the store, or cannolis, or it's coffee, or it's a cocktail, whatever it is that we're pairing with. By the way, we've done all of those. We've paired
Now
with
I'm hungry.
cannolis and beef jerky and cheese. It was so much fun. But when I pair a cigar with anything, for me, what I'm looking for is complementary flavors, complementary palate, right? So a lot of times in food, you're looking for sweet and savory, or you're looking for salty and sweet. Think of like trail mix, or think of sweet and sour, whatever. You're looking for contradictory flavors. With the cigar, I'm looking for something that's gonna complement it. So if I'm drinking a sweeter bourbon, I'm gonna naturally go to a sweeter cigar. Okay. If I'm picking a milder cocktail, or a nice milder coffee, even, I'm gonna go with a milder cigar. If I'm going with something full-bodied and in your face, I'm gonna go with something stronger. So with this blend here, what I'm getting off of it, it's fairly full-bodied. I mean, with that 101 proof, I'm getting a lot of flavor. I'm getting a lot of body off of it. Like we said, we're getting a lot of spice off of it. I'm gonna be going towards something that's gonna be a little fuller bodied, that's gonna pair well with the whiskey, because if you go with too mild, your palate's gonna be drowned out. You're not gonna taste any of the cigar. You're not gonna taste any of the tobacco. You're gonna taste bourbon, and it's gonna linger on your palate. So I'm gonna go with something a little fuller bodied, but not over the top full. Right. And there's cigars that are like that for sure. But stronger than medium, but not a 10 out of 10. And then because of that spice that I'm getting off of this whiskey, I'm gonna go with something that's gonna have a little bit of spice to complement that, right? Not something that's too sweet, not something that's real leather forward or cocoa forward, because again, I think that we want to complement that spice in the bourbon.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, I'm excited for that. Again, I'm usually a guy that's more about a mild, right? But I'm really excited to see again the cigar taste, and also what the changes of the bourbon, what changes it'll do to to enhance even the cigar, right? Because I'm just starting to be able to pick up certain things in whiskey. Bourbon, and I'm dying to pick up more. Like you've talked about. I've been smoking with you, and you're like, oh yeah, taste the leather and this and that. And I'm like, okay. So I'm excited that as we go through this series, we're starting to I can start to pick some of those things up, and because I'll be honest with you, when you call it out, then I get it.
Then
but I just can't place it. So we got Ty. Ty's here in spirit, right?
Hey, Ty.
Welcome, Ty. Glad you're here.
He moved up to Ty. I don't know if you guys remember him, but
absolutely.
He worked here for me for a long time, and he's recently moved up to Omaha area, where he is now a cigar rep which is pretty
Oh,
cool
nice.
to see.
Cool.
So
Well,
yeah,
that's what he's
he's
done.
repping for Imami Cigars, which is pretty neat
That's
to see.
awesome.
So
Well, that's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah, he was a good dude. I enjoyed
He's a
talking
great
to
guy.
him.
Yeah, great guy. Yeah.
So I guess then I guess that we're to a point where maybe we should pick a cigar. You can go pick up a cigar.
Sure.
So with that, let's do this. Let's give a little shout out to our sponsors. We're going to take a little time out, and Derek's going to go pick a cigar. And shout out to our sponsors who are helping us helping us out here and helping us develop this. And this, I think it's again a good thing. So hopefully you.
Ready?
Let's do it. All right. Well, we're back, and Derek.
So before you do the cigars, let's talk about this. I pulled up some of the tasting notes. They say you should be tasting milk, chocolate, vanilla, and candied apple. Did you pull any of that out?
I'm gonna try it again. Milk, chocolate,
Milk,
vanilla,
chocolate,
candied
vanilla,
apple.
and
Okay.
candied apple. So
Just like you said earlier, once somebody puts it in my head,
Right.
then I'm able to taste it. Right?
Milk,
So
chocolate, candy apple.
I feel like I haven't tried it again since you said that, but
so that's the
I feel like
aroma.
candied apple
and
is.
then the body should be chocolate, dried peach, tobacco, and warm caramel.
Well, I'm picking up the tobacco.
Okay, that's it.
I mean, I don't know if I.
And the
Did
finish,
you say peach?
dried peach. So like in a lot of bourbons, you get that stone fruit.
Yeah.
So like if you think you get that on
Yeah.
the back end, and then the finish should be toffee, dark fruit, and light oak. So I get the oak, but that's
get the oak.
about maybe the
Okay.
toffee.
Okay,
I mean a little bit, but I mean it's a.
Toffee.
I feel like it's a mid, palate. Like I don't know, I can't pick up a ton of stuff out of it.
Okay.
So this is a 6-year-old product, 72% corn, 15% rye, and 13% malted barley. So I would have guessed more rye just because you get that rye.
Yeah, you get a lot of
Go,
that raw.
go
Yeah.
through that again. Okay, so on the.
So on the so if you're just smelling it, you should get
Okay.
milk, chocolate, vanilla, and candied apple.
Now that you say it, I understand
one
the
are you getting?
vanilla.
Okay.
I understand the vanilla. I don't get.
The candied apple. Obviously people that with way better palates that probably get paid to do this are picking up these notes.
Well, and plus, they're not as old like me, and I've ruined my palate over all the years, right?
Yeah.
I don't get any of that.
I don't get the candied apple.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe
Maybe the
okay.
vanilla a little bit,
Yeah.
but I
I
don't
get
get
I
any
get the
cantaloupe.
vanilla. I get the vanilla. Okay, so
Now,
on the front of my palate, what
front of
should
the palate, what should it be?
So 4 notes. The body should get chocolate, dried peach, tobacco, and warm caramel.
I get the tobacco. That's because that's almost in the.
Yeah.
The tobacco is almost in the
So
spice,
Yeah.
right?
Right. It's crazy, but I understand the peach.
Really?
I get the
Okay.
peach. Like, is it peach? No, but is it that stone fruit
it's
sort of
dried peach. Is
sort
what
of
they say. I don't know how-
fruity? Yes.
so
Okay, I
would think
understand
you
what
get
they're
that more
saying.
intense flavor if you're thinking about a dried peach versus a fresh peach.
Right. It's not the juicy peach on the side of the road. You
Yeah.
know, it's not that.
Yeah.
But I understand where they're coming from with the dried peach thing with
Yeah.
that stone fruit, which is a common flavor, not peach specifically, but that stone fruit is sort of a common flavor
Absolutely.
in cigars, in
Oh,
tobacco,
okay.
Okay, it is.
especially on the cold draw before you light it, tasting like raisin, apricot, you know, that kind of stuff on the cigar before you even light it up. That's a common flavor
Yeah,
note
nice.
that people pick up.
So you have a palate to kind of pick that
Right.
up anyway, right?
So I'm not going to say this is peach flavored by any means, but I understand where they're coming from when they say dried peach. Like I get that a little bit. It's okay. And what else?
So on the finish, toffee, dark fruit, and light oak. I get.
well, we talked about the oak even at the
Yeah.
beginning, right? You got the oak. I get that on the backside.
Right.
And remember, this is a developed palate. We're still an adolescent. We're an adolescent here.
Right.
So I mean,
I'm
we,
not
have,
even
we
sure if
haven't
I'm there
yet. we're still crawling.
Yeah, I'm not. Toffee?
I got the oak
Yeah, I get the oak on the
because I
finish.
still get a lot of spice.
Tons of spice. Yeah.
It
still
is
picking up a lot of
super-
spice in
Super
there.
spice forward. That
Right.
kind of like what you said. That allspice. It is
Right.
that spice forward. I mean,
Right.
not that it punches you in the face, but you know it's there.
And then you talked about like even the rye, right? Because it does give that fresh mentholy on the top
Yes.
palate, right?
Yes.
It does. It makes it almost like it's a breath of fresh air in the palate, right?
Right.
So that's why like we're talking about the rye pickups.
All right, before we talk about the cigar, because I'm such a newbie on bourbons and on whiskey in general, is it normal everything that I'm tasting, everything from the burn from the alcohol to the oak and everything that I'm tasting is at the front of my mouth. It's my lips and the front of my palate. Is that normal?
It's the same with me, right? Because I'm
Right.
again, it might be it's just where your taste buds are
So
at, right?
so do me a favor. So take a drink
Okay.
and don't swallow it, but chew it.
Right.
So it'll hit all your sensory in there, and then swallow it. So then after that, take another drink and see if you get a different flavor profile.
I get a little more in the roof of my mouth.
Okay.
Right.
So take this drink and tell me if it's any different than any other drinks you've had.
It kicked a little bit, didn't it?
It is. It's a little hotter. They did change it.
Yeah.
Not so much on the flavor profile, but on the intensity of the
Yeah.
flavor.
Yeah. So I mean,
Right?
what they say, they call it the Kentucky Chew. Like your first drink should be that you kind of chew it.
Right.
You hit all your different sensory palates, and then you kind of move on from that, and then you should hit that profile. I don't know if that's the same thing with the cigar.
Right. It is.
Okay.
So in the cigar world, people chew their smoke, right?
Oh yeah.
The actual mechanism of chewing, like the
Yeah.
motion of chewing, triggers something in your brain that helps you pull out
Yeah.
more flavor.
What's so crazy is like we're not huge cigar smokers. You're not a huge bourbon drinker,
Right.
but there's so many parallels between the two
Oh,
different things that you can
Picking
pull
up the
out,
notes
like,
and yeah, right.
like everyone's
Yeah.
trying to pull different stuff out of it. You have a different smoke for this, you have a different drink for that. So I mean that's what's really cool, and the journey,
Right.
and also sharing it with people. I'm sure cigars are the same way.
Right.
You want to share a cigar with someone versus you can drink alone, you can smoke alone,
Right.
but it's much more fun and much more enjoyable
Yeah, it's the
to
social aspect.
to have that with someone that's saying, "Oh yeah, have you tried this one?
Mhm.
Have you done this?"
Mhm.
Like, so I think that's the cool thing.
Yeah.
Education. Again, it's someone who knows, right?
Yeah.
Because again, I may not pick something up, but if you call it out, I'll be like, oh yeah, I do get
Yeah.
that now, right? So it's knowledge and
Yeah.
experience.
We don't have it in front of us, but something that I use often in cigars, right? When I'm tasting a new cigar, or even when I'm tasting a cigar that I've smoked 100 times, uh, I have a flavor wheel, a tasting wheel in front of me a lot of times. I have them on tables here in the shop.
Yeah.
And the flavor wheel that I use was developed by a podcast called The Cigar Authority.
Okay.
Right, so it's tailored towards cigars. So it's got tasting notes of things that people may taste in cigars, and I use that a lot. In fact, in my travel humidor that I carry around with
Yeah.
me,
Oh, that's
I
cool.
have a copy of that travel or of that tasting wheel in my travel humidor. Maybe the next video I'll pull some up here.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I think
that'd
there's
be
a lot
cool.
of parallels.
Right, absolutely.
So you're right. Okay. All right. You want to talk about the cigar?
And we had about a Madison roast. Hopefully she's still on. We had a surge and then it kind of went away. But welcome. Hopefully you're still on and hope you're enjoying this.
Yeah.
Let's do this first. No one online said they know the answer except for my wife about the name of Penelope. So the easy answer is it was their daughter. But yes, that is their daughter's name. But actually, their daughter wasn't even born yet. That they had an impending birth, right? So
Okay.
when they figured out, okay, what do we want to name our daughter? It was Penelope. So it was actually named after her prior to her
That's so cool.
even being birthed,
Wow.
right?
That's
so,
awesome.
Yeah. So,
awesome.
and just another note that Penelope, it's in available in all U.S. and 3 other countries. So just if you happen to find us and you're in a different country,
Right.
I don't know the countries. It didn't list that out, but it's
Good guess.
but it's
Canada.
Canada. Okay. Well, probably right
maybe
now.
after the
Not right now because tariffs. But yeah. So it's and
Also, maybe throw in the comments if you found this bottle and what you think of this bottle.
right. If you've had it before,
Yeah.
right? If you've had this bottle, I mean, it's
Because it was really hard for us to find. So if you found it, you've drank it, be good to know what you like too.
Well, and I've had some of the other Penelope stuff.
Yeah.
This is my first time having this cigar blend, but I've had their Architect blend and I've had a few of their others, and it's all good. I haven't been disappointed by any
Yeah,
of it.
that's good.
So
yeah. I mean, they're a premium blender, right? Because they again they're owned now by MGP,
Right.
who also owns Ezra.
Ezra Brooks.
Ezra Brooks. They also own that. But so they're obviously blending a lot, and they're trying lots of different things. I mean, I just picked up a single barrel store pick of the Project X yesterday. So it's well, Ty, you need to pick us up some and hold them for us, right?
What does it say? Easy to
He
find?
found
He
it in
found it.
Omaha, like by the
Yeah.
case.
Oh, wow.
He didn't say that, but
Wow.
I added that on the back end. But yeah, so come on, Ty.
all right, let's talk about the cigar real quick.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right, so to pair with sort of a spicy, a little bit of a fuller bodied whiskey here, I've chosen the 601 Green by Espinosa. Right, so Espinosa is a brand. As far as brands go, it's one of my favorites. Right, it's a great company to work with. Our rep Josh Bowling is in here all the time. He's a great friend of mine. And then the owner of the company, Eric Espinosa, is awesome. Right, he's a big supporter of ours, and yeah. And
And who doesn't love stuff?
It's a good cigar.
They make stuff shaped like bombs. So
Yeah,
who
Yeah.
doesn't love that?
I actually have. I bought it a while back
Yeah.
from here. By the way, cool stuff. I mean, it's a bomb. It's like the what's the Moab, right? This is the
Right.
greatest bomb of all time. Shaped.
That's it.
I mean, this is. Who doesn't want something like this? I mean, I love this alone, and I need to buy an ashtray.
So, Espinosa makes a whole line of cigars. Everything, they've got a sweet flavored cigar. They've got some milder stuff like the crema. But I picked one of their fuller bodied, one of their more spicy cigars, which is the 601 Green, which is the Oscuro. It's a Nicaraguan Puro. It's Nicaraguan binder wrapper and filler. So it's going to have more of those, more of that Nicaraguan spice with a little bit of like Nicaraguan leather, which is typical, a little bit of the cocoa, but that's definitely on the back end. That's right.
So maybe for the people that aren't cigar smokers, I assume certain tobaccos obviously come from certain countries, blah, blah, blah. But
Right.
like, I'm sure you could pick out where that, like when you smoke something, you probably say, That's from
Yeah.
Honduras. That's from Cuba.
Right.
That's from wherever.
I've-
To a certain degree.
Yeah, I'm not an expert by any means,
Sure.
but typically when I smoke a cigar, like, oh, this is Nicaraguan tobacco, or oh, this is Dominican tobacco, or I've now been able to pull out a lot of Honduran tobaccos because Honduran tobacco has a very typical creamy spice to it, right? So I've been able to sort of pick out certain countries, I should say, by the taste. But most cigars are a blend of, Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper with a Dominican binder and a Brazilian and Nicaraguan filler. They're using multiple countries in a
Right.
cigar blend. This one happens to be all Nicaraguan all the way through. So,
So explain this to me. So you say spice, because
Right.
again, I think we talked about this before. I'm like, look, I like kind of a mild, I'm kind of that
Right.
wimp guy. This is dark.
it's dark.
And you told me that that's not always true. That just because it's a dark cigar means it's going to kick your butt, right?
Right, right.
So when you talk about spice and a dark cigar, I mean,
Right.
when you say spice? Give me what do you mean by spice?
So spice can come in a few different types as cigars. When I taste cigars, sometimes it is that allspice. Think of All Saints, St. Francis, Colorado. It's one of my very favorite cigars. It's made by All Saints Cigars. Mickey Peg is the blender. It's made in the Nicaraguan Rocky Patel factory. It tends to have sort of a cedary allspice note to it. This cigar here is not going to have so much of that allspice note, sort of that baking spice, but this is going to have more of a pepper, like a
Okay.
white pepper spice to it. So it all comes from the soils and from the strain of tobacco grown and how much sunlight it's getting, how much water it's getting.
Sure.
All of that goes into it. But this is going to be more of a pepper spice.
Okay.
So let's cut it and
do it.
let's taste it as a cold draw first. So when
Okay.
I cut the cigar, I'm just going to barely expose the end of it. I'm just going to cut off the smallest amount possible.
We learned about that last week where
Right.
they have caps, which no idea either, right?
Right.
So again,
Right.
this is also not just about us drinking bourbon and smoking cigars. It's also about us. There's some education along with this,
Right.
right?
So I'll hold it up to the camera. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it. I just barely pulled the end off the cigar, but the cap goes down, I don't know, maybe half an inch,
Yeah.
maybe
Okay.
not quite half an inch. And you can see it. I don't know if you guys can see it,
Yeah,
but
absolutely
there's
you
a
can,
circular cap
Yeah.
that runs around, and it's right to my fingertip. So
Yeah, right there.
if you were to cut that whole cap off, the cigar will unravel. That's what's holding
Okay.
the whole cigar together. So all that we did up here, and you guys both did a great job of cutting it, was just expose the very end. So I'm going to blow off any little bits of tobacco from the cutter off the end of it, and I'm going to take a cold draw.
You know what? I thought about this, and I got to make one change. I got my bourbon drinking hat.
Uh-oh. Oh.
Aha. Gotta
Well,
make sure.
everyone, welcome to the live. Big Poppy's joined the live.
So now I
You
got
need to get your mic.
Yep. I gotta feel the urge,
Yeah.
right?
That's a nice hat.
All right.
I saw that up here. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I gotta feel. I gotta be into the mood, right?
So,
That's
if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and put on like what you think of the hat. Is it a good? Is it bad? I'd love to hear the comments.
Yeah, let's hear about the hat, right? What do you think? I mean, I kind of like it. I mean, I think it looks good on me.
Nice. It's nice. All right, so something that I like to do before I even light up a cigar is experience the cigar as it is before I light it, right? So I smell the cigar. This cigar, I don't get a whole lot of smell off the body of the cigar, but if I take a smell off the foot, it smells like I'm in a hay barn.
Oh my
Right?
goodness, absolutely.
Right. It's like I have a horse that I board outside of town, and it's like being in the barn with that hay.
It is for sure. I mean,
Right.
I just got done moving a bunch of bales, and it smells just like
Right. Growing up, I remember throwing hay bales. My dad set me up with some guy to go throw hay bales for a week or
Yeah,
whatever.
who doesn't like to do that?
Oh, it's a great time.
Especially right now. I mean,
Yeah.
great
Best
weather
job in the
to
world.
throw hay.
Okay. So now that I've smelled, I get that note off the foot of the cigar. Now I'm going to take a pull off the head before I even light it. I don't get a whole lot off it, but
Yeah.
think like, hold on. Let me try one more time. It's like apricot, dried apricot. A little bit of raisin,
Yeah.
a little bit of hay, and dried apricot. Did you
I'm
get
getting
that at
the
all?
hay. I'm getting really earthy, but I'm not as talented to pick up the stone fruit yet.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the hay, but
Right.
there's something else that I can't. And it's
I feel
almost
like with
it's almost like a sweet.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I feel like with that hat, you should be
I should be
picking
sitting
it
right.
up. Yeah.
So, like I said, I get a little bit of like a golden raisin, and a little bit of like apricot, dried apricot
Yeah.
kind of thing off of it.
I see the raisin.
Right.
That's what I couldn't figure out. There's something else, and small, just short, but
Right. It's not. There'll be other cigars that we'll try on this series
Yeah.
that will be much stronger in that raisin flavor on the cold draw, but I get raisin off of this just slightly. So,
But to me, it still feels it feels very robust to me
Right,
in
right.
that pull, right?
all right, well, let's light her up. I've got these cool lighters by Espinosa up here. So this is the Warhead lighter.
It's awesome.
Just
I'm
wants
go-
to buy one.
You're gonna need one. You're-
They're cool.
You have to wait
I'm
until
left out. I feel left out.
Yeah, we both have one. I should have.
No, you're all good.
But okay, so when I go to light this, I don't want the visible flame, which I don't know how well the camera will pick
Yeah.
up. But I don't want the visible flame on the tobacco. I want to keep it as cool as possible while also getting it lit. So I'm going to hold it above the visible flame,
Woo!
which if it lights like that, it's going to be hard. Right? Maybe I ought to turn that down just a touch here. Let's try that. All right, here we go. I'm going to keep it out of the visible flame and hold it above the flame. Wow, that is impressive. Yeah,
That's why it's the bomb.
it is the bomb. I probably have this turned up way too high. But it's just starting to
just lightly
starting to
kiss the
smoke.
outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think of like roasting a marshmallow over the campfire, right?
Yeah.
I want to take it slow. I'm going to spend an hour with this thing. I don't necessarily
Right.
want to rush this part of
Sure.
it. So one more time, I'm going to hit it. It's starting to glow on the end, on the foot of the cigar.
I got that.
Now that I've got it glowing a little bit,
Thank you.
And this is where you
Careful.
said you need to suck in the flame, not put the flame to it, right?
right, right. You don't want to touch the visible flame to it because that's going to be the hottest part of the flame, right?
I can tell you what, this lighter's got some juice on it.
I made sure it was
Wow.
full before this video.
Wow. It's an easy pull.
Yeah, it's a great draw.
Draw.
There's
Got
no
lingo.
There's no resistance to it. It's not
Right.
like I'm trying to really pull on it hard.
No. Wow, that's it's really light. I don't know. To me, it's. I gotta. Okay. When you say it, maybe I'll know what it is. But I mean, I like that.
Yeah. So you brought up earlier the color of the cigar.
Right.
Right. The color of the cigar is not necessarily how strong it's going to be. Right. So this is a Maduro. This is actually an Oscuro. And if you look at the band, it says 601 Oscuro. And it says Reserva Limitada. Right. The brand is Espinosa. This is an Espinosa cigar. And then the line is a 601. This is a 601 cigar. And the 601 comes in a few different lines. There's the blue, which is a chocolatey, sweet, medium-bodied cigar. There's the 601 red, which is a little spicier but a little milder.
Okay.
Habano. So the blue is a Maduro with a, don't quote me on this, but a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, if I remember right. The red is a Habano wrapper. And this is what we call an Oscuro wrapper. Oscuro means dark, right? Habano means, I'm sorry, Maduro means ripe. Maduro on a cigar means ripe. So think of like a banana,
Yeah.
right? The riper the cigar, the more the sugars are pulled out. All the tobacco is fermented. It's all fermented in bales of tobacco called pilones. And a pilone is a giant bale of tobacco. It's hands of tobacco where they tie the leaves together. And you've probably seen people online smelling tobacco hands.
That,
You know, it's
Yeah.
15, I don't know the number, but I'm going to throw out a number, 15 leaves that are all tied together, right? And they're smelling that hand of tobacco, right? They pile all those up in this bale, and it's fermented. And during the fermentation process, the bales on, or the hands on the outside are moved to the inside, and the inside's moved to the outside, and the top is moved to the bottom's to the top, and inside out. So they're constantly rotating these paloms to keep it from generating too much heat, and also to keep the fermentation even. But during that fermentation process, as the leaf is breaking down, it's turning from a lighter brown color to a darker brown color. They're all dried. They dry them in curing barns.
Yeah, you see them hanging, right?
Right, they're hanging in the barns, and it's cured, and then they ferment it in these paloms. And the longer they let it ferment, the darker the tobacco gets. Now, this is an Oscuro wrapper. It says right there on the band, Oscuro.
Right. Yeah.
Oscuro is the darkest color. Sometimes you'll see brands out there that have almost a black tobacco. The wrapper leaf is almost black, and that's a Oscuro wrapper. But really, it's just the far end of Maduro.
Okay.
And the longer you let this cigar ferment, the darker it gets. And think of like I said, a banana. The longer you let it ferment,
Oh, yeah, it gets dark.
it gets darker. It turns sort of that from a pale greenish color, greenish yellow, to a yellow, to sort of a greenish or a yellow brown color. It's going to bring out more of that natural sweetness in the tobaccos. That's what's happening in the wrapper leaf here.
Okay.
So this is where, if you're getting any sweetness off this cigar, it's coming from that wrapper.
I'm absolutely getting the sweetness, especially when I'm not hitting on it. I'm sitting there, I can taste it in my mouth. It's very sweet.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
Now, I will tell you, it's pretty strong.
Now, this has some body to it, right?
Yeah,
this is a fuller
I'm
bodied
like,
cigar. If I were to rate this on a 1 to 10, with 1 being the mildest cigar and 10 being very, very, very strong, I'm going to rate this on a, an 8, 7.5 or 8.
It's
right?
strong. I mean, I feel it.
Right.
Well, I can't handle a 10 then.
Right. I have cigars that are a 10, but this isn't one of them. But this is on the fuller end, especially for Espinosa cigars.
Yeah.
This is on the fuller end of their cigars. So, do you taste anything off of the
The draw.
cigar? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's very. Again, when I'm not drawing on it, right? It's very sweet. It makes my mouth very sweet.
Right.
I mean, it's
It leaves your palate very sweet, like
very
that.
sweet and refreshed almost,
Yeah.
right? Now, yeah, it's what did we get? Jeff, what did he say? Didn't realize Maduro had variant. Assumed Maduro were all strong.
No, Maduros are not strong, Jeff. In fact, the reason that we perceive Maduros as strong is because, well, let me back that a little bit. We, as American cigar smokers, which is the #1 market in cigars, in the cigar industry, the Americans are the #1 market. And as the #1 market, we've been trained to think that dark cigars, that dark Maduros are stronger.
Yeah.
Right? So now the blenders have said, oh, if somebody's going to smoke a dark cigar, they're expecting something strong.
Right.
So the blenders are now blending dark cigars to be stronger and light cigars to be milder. But that's not necessarily the case at all. We have, in my humidor here, we have mild Maduros, and we have full-bodied light cigars, Connecticut, or shade-grown wrappers. We have full-bodied shade-grown tobacco. But when people see dark cigars, they think automatically strong, which,
That's what I thought.
right. Well, and that's going to affect your flavor as well. The way that you taste it, that's going to affect that.
Okay.
I think when we were talking about the whiskey, and we talked about how, whoa, when somebody says that they taste, pepper, or they taste spice, or they taste whatever, now I can all of a sudden pick it up, right? And we saw that when we came back from
Absolutely,
breaking, you were like, oh, peach.
Yep.
Huh,
Yeah.
actually, I do taste peach,
Yeah.
right? That's because, our brains are wired to,
Oh,
to pick
absolutely.
that up.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think that's the same thing with like a higher proof bourbon. You're expecting it to be a punch in the face.
Right.
And
Or
some
some you'll
some
drink.
don't
and-
drink that way.
Let's say you drink something that's 130 proof, and you're like, oh, this drink's really lower than its proof. Your mind's playing tricks on you.
right. Yeah. So, okay, so on this cigar here, when I've smoked this cigar in the past, now I've never paired this cigar with this whiskey, but when I've smoked this cigar in the past, it was spice. For me, it was spice all the way through.
Yeah.
Like, this was, in my opinion, the spiciest cigar that Espinosa makes.
Yeah.
Now that I've got it with this cigar, and
Now we need to try
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah.
We
We're
need to see
pairing
what.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure that I get a
I'm not getting
overabundance of
yeah.
spice, which is what I got
No.
before.
No, I think the
No.
spice is much milder,
Mhm.
but I'm definitely not getting what the really great palates are telling me I should
Right.
be getting. But it's
But
not the
it
same rye
definitely-
punch.
You know, it's not the punch, right? It's not
Yeah.
the right
Right.
punch, like you said.
Right.
It definitely.
But it's a better. I'll just say this: it's a better drink with a cigar than without a cigar.
Oh yeah, it drinks.
That could be said for every drink.
Well, sure.
honestly.
Yeah.
But it drinks easier, right? It doesn't.
Yeah.
You're not getting that front
But
punch,
Yeah,
right?
I think it's a more full-bodied bourbon
Mhm.
with a cigar, and obviously it's designed to do that too. But my brain's telling me that it should be that way too. But yeah,
That is
it's
interesting.
it's a better drink
With a
with
cigar.
a cigar. Which, I mean, add the
Still
comments
good.
on there that I'm a
Right.
moron, that's the way it should be. But
It may
yeah,
be all in my head,
yeah,
right? And I'm always skeptical of how I'm perceiving things and how people say I should perceive things, right? I'm a big skeptic on that, but now that I'm tasting it, and I'm tasting it with a cigar, it's not as in my face. Like it's not.
No, it's not. Not like it was, especially on the front palate. Because the front palate was when I was getting all that spice, right?
That's so interesting because when you said that earlier, that it would pair well with a cigar. Like I thought, oh, okay,
yeah.
right, sure, everything pairs better
Yeah.
with a cigar, but
But
um,
kind of like with this one, they say they partner with cigar
And
makers.
they do.
Yeah, I mean, whoever's on here that can debunk this, let us know. But I mean, that's the whole point of like a Joseph Magnus cigar blend or something else. Like they're supposed to be partnering in a way that they can bring out those flavors, kind of like what you're talking about, like
right.
flavors that a typical bourbon drinker is gonna get. That's what they're trying to get out, so that you get a full-bodied experience versus what I think we got at the beginning.
So and I'll go back to a different blend,
Yeah.
different brand, but we had that Joseph Magnus cigar blend, and I think it was winter, and we tried it.
Yeah.
You know, we weren't able to go outside and have a nice cigar with it, and it was okay. It was a little strong. It
Yeah.
was a little, it hits you. But when I brought that bottle out when my friend Victor was over, and he brought this bottle, and we tried the Magnus too, and it absolutely changes. It changes the way it drinks.
Yeah.
All right,
This
so
cigar, this is a wow. Again, I'm still going to say when I draw on it and I'm done, it's almost like refreshing in my mouth.
yeah, and this is my first time pairing a cigar with this cigar blend whiskey.
Yeah.
Right, I've had a couple different cigar blend whiskeys. I've had the Joseph Magnus. One of our good customers brought that in for me one
Yeah.
time to try, and I've had a few others, but I've never really, I've never paired it with this cigar, at least not intentionally.
Sure.
Right, not intentionally pairing with the cigar.
Who knows when that'll take you?
Right, but now that I have,
Yeah.
it's better.
Yeah, I
It's-
agree.
It's definitely better.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I haven't tried this experiment with a non-cigar
Yeah.
or something. You know, I imagine it would be the same way, right? Because your taste buds now are trying to pick up so many different things, right? So I mean, does it also change it when you're smoking? You know, when you're drinking a regular,
Yeah.
a regular, a bourbon that's not a cigar blend,
Right.
right? Or made for
I
a
mean, I
cigar.
would definitely say if you're not a cigar smoker, I don't know if I would search out cigar blends
Right.
because I just think these pair really well together. If you're just a bourbon drinker, I mean, it's a cool bottle, but I don't know if I chase it for the flavor. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, I understand that
Yeah.
completely. Yeah. I mean, it's good, but it's not like, oh, this is my everyday
Yeah.
drink.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if the profile just opens differently because kind of like what that cigar leaves in your mouth pairs really well and it gives a different flavor complex to it. I don't know.
Maybe that's a good question for Penelope, right? When you create this, what's your expectation on what's going to happen
Yeah.
with the cigar, right?
Right.
I mean, that's a good question for
And
them.
I'm sure they pulled it out and said, hey, this barrel would be great for these,
Right.
and set them aside. You don't age bourbon for 6 years and just figure out what you want to do.
So you
Excuse
see
me, American whiskey.
right? I mean, you see, Rabbi says, I wonder if what Perdomo uses
Perdomo.
Penelope berries, barrels. See what the cigar is doing to me? For their barrel-aged cigars. I mean,
So, Perdomo, Rabbi Moses, I do know, uses Sazerac barrels.
really?
Yeah, there's a brand, Perdomo cigars, which are great. I carry them here. Their wrapper leaf, every wrapper leaf that they put on every single cigar, even their cheap bundled cigars all the way up to their high-end cigars, every wrapper leaf is barrel-aged in Sazerac barrels.
So is that Sazerac rye or just Sazerac?
Could be anything. So
Sazerac's a
Sazerac
big
owns
company,
everything.
right?
I mean, it could be
Yeah, Sazerac owns a lot.
1792. It could be
Right.
stuff they make for other people.
So just
like,
anything that comes Sazerac from barrels.
Yeah.
And I've asked our rep, our Perdomo rep, that question.
yeah,
And the answer was it's Sazerac barrels.
Sazerac,
Right,
which is
because it's funny. Like if you go on a
Really
bourbon,
right.
if you go on a distillery tour, they say bourbon whiskey barrels, especially bourbon barrels, have the best life because you get bourbon, then they're shipped to another country, and most of the time you get rum,
Right.
and then they finally end up in tequila.
Right.
So
So these are
think about
going
the life cycle.
with Perdomo. They're going to Nicaragua.
yeah,
And they're aging tobacco. So according to Perdomo, the reason that they would do that is not necessarily to flavor the cigars at all. They're not trying to make them bourbon flavored cigars. What they're doing is they're using the activated charcoal
sure.
that's on the inside of that from the fire. You know, when they burn the barrel, they're using that charcoal as a filtration to filter out ammonias and impurities in the tobacco.
okay.
And we just did here in my store, I have a barrel that we used from Rieger, right? So it's a Rieger barrel. And it was a barrel, I don't want to say for sure, but I don't believe that all of the Rieger stuff is done in-house. Maybe it is now, but
I think it is.
I think it is now.
It
You
is
could be
now.
right,
It
yeah.
wasn't. It wasn't.
Initially, it wasn't,
No,
right?
it was not.
The barrel that we have was definitely done in Kansas City at
Yeah.
the Rieger Distillery, right? It was the barrel pick that a club that I'm a part of, the
It was a
Kansas City
rye.
Whiskey Guild, that they did, that they picked. And we got that barrel.
Yeah.
And we aged our own house cigars, which are made in the Dominican Republic with the cigar that we put in the barrel was Dominican binder and filler with a Brazilian wrapper, right? Made by Iconic Leaf. And at the 2-month mark, I started pulling out cigars out of the barrel and taste testing them. Is it ready yet? Is it ready yet? And it took about 3 months for me to say, okay, this is
Yeah.
it. This is what I'm happy selling. But that charcoal, or the barrel aging, I should say, made a difference even early on. At the 2-month mark, smoking, you know, in one hand, the one that came out of the barrel, and one hand that came straight out of the humidor, there was a difference.
Well, I bought them. I mean, I
Right.
bought a handful of them, and I think I shared them with you, Heath.
Yeah, yeah, they're
And
good.
Yeah.
that was, I mean, you're out of them now, but I would.
Yeah, I wish I made more.
I
Well,
would,
there's always batch 2.
Right.
I would-
I've got the barrel in here for batch 2 now.
yeah, that's right.
So-
You have another barrel for
Yeah,
it, right?
yeah.
So yeah, they were spectacular. So
But it did make a difference. So, Rabbi Moses, you're onto something there. They're aging them in barrels, at least with Perdomo. So,
So I mean, same thing. Like Jack Daniel's does that. They make their own charcoal, then they filter their whiskey through their charcoal to take out the impurities. A lot of people are doing that. Like if you read some labels, it'll say non-chill filter, chill filter. Like so, it just depends on how they're taking that out of the barrel and getting the impurities out. Because obviously, when you take whiskey, bourbon, whatever you're doing out of a barrel, you're getting all that sediment, everything else you've got to filter out, and then how.
So when you say that, I see them dump barrels. You know,
Yeah.
I'll watch the barrel
Yeah.
dumps, and they're dumping them upside down, and it's going through. Is that what you're talking
Yeah.
about? Is that when they're doing that?
Yeah.
When it's coming out of the barrel, there's black all over, right? And they're
Yep.
dumping it through there. That's what
Yep.
you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, and I think this one's non-chill filter.
I bought 10. I probably did, Ty. I wish I'd have bought more.
so in the cigar world, when they're barrel aging something, or when they're trying to clean the cigar, clean is probably not even the right word. When they're aging the cigar, what they're doing is they're aging out those impurities. They're aging out the ammonia in the cigar.
Okay.
In that giant polone, when the tobacco is breaking down and it's becoming darker and it's bringing out more of those sugars, one of the natural byproducts of that fermentation process is ammonia, right? And we've all
Yeah.
probably had cheap cigars, right? Less expensive cigars. And the next morning after you smoke it, you taste that.
Oh, it's terrible for
It's-
like days.
Right, it lasts days. That's the ammonia. That's a byproduct of the fermentation. So,
Yeah.
you know, another thing we've heard of, and I'm doing in my humidor, and lots of people are doing, is aging cigars. Right? They're setting the cigars aside to let them age, specifically just to let them get older. And it's
So
not,
I didn't mean to cut you off, but what's the typical year that you want to age that to, and where do you want it? All depends on flavor. that you're
right.
looking for, right?
It depends on the tobaccos and what you're looking for. As the cigar ages, the ammonia is dissipating out of the
Sure.
tobacco. It's a natural byproduct. This cigar and every other cigar that I have in my humidor has ammonia in it. And the longer you let it age, and the reputable brands are aging their own cigars before they even ship them to me or to other retailers, they're letting the cigars age for a certain period of time to let that ammonia dissipate out. But you're never going to get rid of all of
Right.
it,
Sure.
right? So this cigar here, when I taste this cigar, I don't get any ammonia.
Yeah.
But I
No.
smoked a cigar last week that was fresh off the roller, right? The roller just put the wrapper leaf on, and they put it in a box, and they shipped it to me straight out of the Dominican Republic, and it tasted like ammonia.
But that's still got to be a cool experience to smoke something that fresh.
Yeah, super fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure the smoke is totally different than what we're doing right now.
Right.
I mean, you get a totally different profile, everything.
Totally different. Yeah. And by letting it age and letting that ammonia dissipate out of the cigar, it becomes smoother, right? You're getting less of that harshness of the ammonia of that raw tobacco, of that young tobacco.
Right.
But at the same time, the oils that are naturally present in the tobacco are also evaporating and dissipating.
Same thing, right?
So there's a sweet spot, right? And I don't know how long Espinosa aged this particular cigar, but I would guess, knowing what I know of the industry, that it's probably a couple of years,
Yeah.
right? Enough to let the ammonia dissipate so you don't taste it and it's ready to sell. But if you were to take this cigar and you were to sit on it for 5 years, that's a long time to sit on a box of cigars.
Yeah.
Or 10 years. You'll end up getting less flavor, less strength, because those oils
Sure.
are naturally evaporating as well, but it'll round out and it'll sort of smooth out. Not that this is not smooth, that's
Yeah.
not what I'm trying to say,
Yeah.
but it'll improve up to a point,
Right.
right? I smoked this cigar last year. It was a pre-embargo Cuban, pre-1962.
Wow.
I was with my uncle, and some guy pulled in here and wanted to sell us
Yeah.
stuff out of the back of his car, and his dad had bought cigars and put them in the basement, and they'd been dried out for
Yeah.
a long, long time, probably decades that they've been dry in the basement. But they were pre-embargo Cubans, so we rehumidified them, which is easy to do in a cigar. Put them in a humidor and let them reacclimate and soak in that humidity. But they had been aging for so long that they lost everything. It was cool to smoke a pre-embargo Cuban.
But
You didn't get much out of it. Yeah.
now,
There was nothing to it.
when they're in the wrapper, and you have them in your humidor, are they still aging in that wrapper?
Right. So I pulled the cellophane off of these before we sat down and smoked them. But the cellophane that these cigars are wrapped in is not plastic. It's not a piece of plastic that it's wrapped in. It's cellophane.
Okay.
And cellophane is a wood product. If you were to take the plastic, I say plastic because I don't know what else to call it. If you were to take the cellophane wrapper off of this cigar, you could light it on fire and it would burn like a piece of wood because it's a wood product. It's not plastic.
So it's porous?
It's porous.
Interesting.
It's breathable,
Oh, okay.
right? Same as the boxes of cigars. The boxes are wood. The humidors are wood. They're allowing that breathing to happen. They're allowing the expelling of. Yeah, there you go.
I mean, for someone that doesn't know anything about cigars, I mean, you pick this up and you're like, the wrapper's made out of some kind of plastic.
Right. It's cellophane.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a wood product. And if you've ever come across a stash of old cigars, that cellophane will absorb the oils out of the tobacco, and you'll see. I mean, it's almost the color of this whiskey. You'll see wrappers that are like that
Oh, okay.
color yellow.
Yeah.
You know, the yellow cellophane is indicative of an old cigar that sat around for a long time and sort of absorbed the oils that are evaporating, but it's also, again, letting that ammonia dissipate.
So Ken asked, can all cigars be aged, right? Do all cigars age when you're
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
All cigars age. Now, if you're going to age cigars and you take a bad cigar that you don't like and you set it aside for 5 years, it's going to
Still be a bad cigar.
it's going to be a bad cigar that you don't like that's 5 years old. But if you take something that you enjoy, right, something that's going to be high quality, like the Espinosa cigars, and you set them aside for a couple of years, you'll notice it becomes, to a certain point, it'll get better. It'll round out. It'll become, I don't want to say smooth because that's a word that people use in the industry all the time to describe taste, but it'll become more well-rounded, right? It'll become softer.
So if you put 2 medium cigars that you bought and you put them in a case and you age them with the same amount of bad cigars, it's expelling that, but is it both ways? Will it pick up some of the other things?
Yeah. If you try to age a cigar in something that's airtight, let's say, I know in the cigar industry, cooladors are really popular, or tuppadors. You know, you're taking, instead of using a traditional wooden humidor, you're using plastic, real plastic. You know, a cooler or Tupperware or Ziploc bags. You're going to stop the aging process. It's not going to age. It's just like in the bottle. In the barrel, the whiskey is going to age, right? You're going to have evaporation happening through the wood. You're going to have aging. The aging process is happening.
Once you take it out of the barrel, it's done.
Once you take it out of the barrel and you put it in glass, that's it.
It's done.
That's the way it is.
Yeah.
And it's going to hold that. It's going to keep those characteristics for a long time. I went to a cigar shop called Stag in Oklahoma City. A friend of mine owns that store. And I went down for the anniversary party, and I tried scotch. I want to say it was from 1972. It had been bottled in 72.
Yeah.
Right? It was good. It was great. It was a great scotch. And it had been sitting on a shelf for a really long time.
Did they open it just for that event?
They did.
Oh, nice.
Well, okay. I say yes, but I wasn't there when they opened it. I believe so.
Yeah.
It may have been on the shelf before that. But it didn't age throughout those 70 years of, gosh, is it 70? No, it's not 70. 50 years. It didn't age for those 50 years of sitting in a bottle. There's no aging happening.
Yeah, the minute it gets to the bottle, it's done aging.
Right,
There's
it's
nothing.
sealed, and there's nothing.
But,
So if you take a cigar and you put it into a Ziploc bag, or you put it into Tupperware, or you put it into a cooler, or something that's actually airtight, the aging process is stopped.
Yeah.
If you want to age your cigars, put them in a wooden humidor and keep them humidified, right? Keep them humidified, you know, somewhere between 57, 58% humidity and 70% humidity. Keep them in that range and let them sit. You're going to see some changes happening. Now, some cigars have been aged before you even get them, right? Actually, all cigars have been aged before you even get them. And some are at the peak where the blender says, this is it. Right, this is as good as it's going to get. Any more aging than this, it's going to go downhill. You're at the peak. Other cigars will improve until you hit the peak, and then they'll start to go downhill.
Gotcha. Yeah. This is good. I mean, this is I enjoy it a lot. Now, again, the initial kick kind of was like, holy moly, right?
Uh-huh.
But now it's just kind of calmed down, and it's just a good smoke.
Yeah.
Easy, again, like you said, it's an easy draw.
Right.
I mean, you're not having, and it's staying lit.
The burn is, I mean, perfect. So there's nothing more you'd want in a burn. It's burning fine. How's yours burning?
Yeah.
I mean, mine was got the ash got so long, I was getting nervous I was going to drop it, so I knocked it off myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very good. So
I don't, now that I've smoked this cigar 50 times, right? And it's been real spice forward.
Yeah.
Now that I'm pairing it with Penelope, this cigar blend, I'm not so much getting the spice. I'm getting more of like a leather and the sweetness that we got off that initial light.
it's very light. It becomes very light. You know, it's not.
That's wild.
It's not kicking your butt, right? I mean, there's some cigars you just take them. It's like, oh, but it's they obviously for a reason they're made to be done together.
Right. Now this cigar here, this is the Trabuco size, which is not quite a 60 ring gauge. I should have looked it up before we started the video, but it's not quite a 60 ring gauge. But it's a bigger cigar in ring gauge than most, and it's a size unique to Espinosa. But yeah,
It's very good.
Yeah.
it's totally a different experience than before pairing it with the whiskey, which
Yeah.
I think is great.
Absolutely.
So
All right, let's do it. Let's do another. Let's do another little trivia. So, do you on for bourbon? So, anyone online, do you know the difference between? Because they have bourbons that are toasted bourbon. So,
I've actually had Penelope toast.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I've had that.
So, who knows the difference? Who knows why it would be toasted versus just a regular bourbon? Right? They call it toasted. So, what's the difference? What's the difference of regular bourbon versus a toasted bourbon? Anyone here know?
I hope somebody in the comments knows.
I know.
I have no idea.
But again, I worked very, very hard during the day, but I watched a lot of little, other social medias during the day, and people talk about this. So I learned this. The barrel is charred toasted. So that is correct. But what it is it's a difference of temperature and time. So to get a char, just for a regular barrel that's charred, it's not listed as toasted. It's hotter and quicker. So they're trying to get that really heavy char burn in there, right? So it's really, really hot, and it burns really heavy.
So I wonder.
A toast is that when they toast it at a lower temperature for a longer amount of time, because they're just trying to get they're trying to make the inside of the barrel more of like the outside of a nice, lightly toasted marshmallow.
I love it.
So, because if you look at a barrel that's been charred, right inside, you can put something in there and dump it out. The char will come out with
Sure.
your water will turn brown and it comes out because it's heavy charred. The toast is they're just trying to get it just a toasty a perfect marshmallow for a s'more.
Now, I don't know anything about whiskey or barrels, but I have this Penelope barrel and sitting in front of us, and on the back of it, you guys can't on camera see this, but it says American Oak Char Number 3.
Correct. So
is that the level
that's
of
a level
that's
of,
a level.
char, the level of char that they burn it in. So the barrels we're actually doing, we have some videos out there and we're coming that we've actually started doing our own blending as Bourbon Bros Kansas City, Bourbon Bros KC. We think we've just completed our first one. We did a blend, and we're ready to dump it into into bottles.
Okay.
And we're going to do a second one, but it's definitely char. And the first week you fill it with water.
Yeah.
And literally after 1 week, I dumped it out, and it was just dark, and all that char is coming off.
You fill it with water?
So you fill the barrel with water for the first week to soak up the barrel. So if there's any leaking, if there's any spots that it's
Right, it's rehumidifying.
yeah,
those,
and so it'll enclose it, encapsulate it, so
staves.
you don't get any, you don't get as much leakage, right?
Okay.
Or what do they call that? The angel's cut.
The angel's cut, yeah.
Yeah. So that's why you the first week you fill it with water. So and we have a barrel right now that we just filled last night with honey. Filled the whole thing with honey, and we're going to let it sit in there for 2 months, and then we've got an idea of another whiskey bourbon that we're going to put in it.
Hold on.
And see how it comes out.
You filled the barrel with honey?
Yeah.
The entire barrel is filled with honey.
So basically, the barrel will soak up that honey. Then you dump the honey, and then you fill it with bourbon or whiskey, and then you'll get that flavor profile as it pulls in and out of the. Yeah.
Okay, so before you filled it with honey, did you fill it with water?
Fill it with water for a week.
Water first to humidify the wood.
Yep.
Dumped out the barrel,
water.
and now I filled it with honey, and it will stay there for now 2 months. They say about 2 months,
Oh.
and then we'll dump the honey, and you know what? And then we're going to keep the honey, and we're going to do some giveaways on.
That's so
Yeah.
cool.
We're going to do some.
We're
giveaways.
gonna filter it first though. When nobody
We're gonna
wants.
filter
Nobody
it so
wants
there'll be no
honey
char.
with wax.
But now we're hoping that it's going to pick up some of those flavor profiles of the barrel, and then then we'll fill it with the bourbon, and we'll keep turning it. And once a week we'll try it.
Okay, so I'm new to this. When
Yeah.
you're filling it with honey, are you rotating the barrel?
No, you just let it. So because you're filling the whole barrel
I've got
full.
it. I've
Okay.
got it
Yeah.
filled to where you don't have to turn it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just gonna soak it up. I mean, I may turn it a little bit if we're losing a little bit, which I'm not sure we're gonna lose honey because it's pretty.
It's so thick.
Pretty
Yeah.
viscous.
But like I said, then we'll have the honey here for people to
Oh,
come and try the
that's
honey.
so cool.
at Ash
That's
and
so
Anvil,
awesome.
right?
That's a great idea.
Yeah. So, but our first barrel is ready to go to bottle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just tried it today.
Just tried it today, and I will tell you, it absolutely changed the profile of the bourbon. So
Right.
we mixed it with a rye and a regular bourbon, and it absolutely it changed it. It improved it for sure. But they say a barrel now, it's a smaller, it's 2.5 gallons. So they say the barrel will 10 times it will pick up all the things of the barrel 10
That's
times
cool.
quicker than a 50-gallon barrel.
Wow.
So you
for-
have to watch
Yeah.
that.
So for a char level 3,
Yes.
I looked it up so no one can. It's exposed to a flame for 35 to 45 seconds to get that burn. So a lot of depending on whoever it is doing it, they go. I think most people do a char 4.
Okay.
It just depends on what you're looking for, but just lights that on fire for 35 to 45 seconds.
I mean,
Because
it's big
you
fire.
can go online and you can see how they do it, but yeah, basically a huge flame just burning the inside of a barrel.
I've never seen it. I'm
Well,
excited.
you
I'm
should
gonna,
look up a video. It's just
I'm gonna get done with this and I'm gonna go watch this.
Yeah.
This sounds cool.
It's pretty crazy. They're on fire, but like I said, the toasted they do it at a lower heat and slower, so they're not trying to get that big char
just
on the
that
inside.
kiss.
They're just trying
Yeah.
a little kiss, like
Yeah.
I said,
Marshmallow.
a perfect marshmallow.
yeah.
So
Like
you know,
when you're lighting a cigar.
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly.
So we have some bottles over here that some of the people are trying out here, and I have a Penelope toasted marshmallow.
Nice.
One of them. That's one of the bottles.
Yeah.
So we have a bottle out here, and I brought it. One reason is because I really didn't like it when we first tried it. It was just, I don't know. I didn't taste any marshmallow. I didn't get anything. But
Yeah.
they say that if you also, when you pop a bottle for the first time, you're letting that oxygen in there.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you give it a while and you go back to it, it's different, right? Because that
Right.
oxygen is doing
Right.
something in there.
Right.
So a couple people have already told me here that they're like, oh, it was really good. And on the backside, you can taste, it's almost like you could taste that little toasty, like the marshmallow. So obviously I'm going to need to try it again, right? Because, again, we've got to give everything a second chance.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
But
Yep.
no, I think hopefully people who's ever on here, as you've registered to enter for the merch giveaway, we're going to do that when we're gone and when we're done, and
Yeah.
we'll reach out to you. But
So I should probably plug Espinosa one
Yeah,
more time.
absolutely.
Espinosa Cigars is a great partner of ours here at Ash Anvil. In fact, we are one of 12 Espinosa lounges in the country.
Wow.
That's it.
Yeah. We got approached by Espinosa shortly after opening about becoming a lounge. A lot of that has to do with our rep.
Sure.
Our regional rep is Josh Bowling, and he's a great guy. Big believer in Espinosa Cigars and a big believer in us in Ash Anvil. And so they approached us and asked us if we would like to be a branded lounge. And so if you come into our store, we have signage up on the walls and a good selection of Espinosa cigars in the humidor.
well,
But it's been very cool.
if
to
you
work
watched
with
the
them.
first live, we actually walked into the humidor and
Yeah.
showed you here. If you are local to Kansas City, or if you've come through Kansas City or you're here for some time, I would absolutely recommend. I mean, for those of you who've watched our videos, we started this in the basement of my house, and we've moved. Our atmosphere is much more tailored to bourbon. To bourbon now versus when we first began.
Mm-hmm.
But coming here and we're meeting Derek, and this is Bourbon Bros KC. This has kind of been turned into our home away from home.
Yeah.
And it is an unbelievable atmosphere. You have the cigar lounge inside. On the other side of the building here, he has a speakeasy, which is very cool. It's exactly what you think it is. And then out back, he has something called the Bellows, which is It's a bar.
Yeah.
They have fire pits. It's covered. There's some parts of it are covered. Tables.
Outdoor patio bar is what we call it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's got Adirondack chairs, fire pits, cornhole. He has bands here. So this is this has turned into quite a collaboration, but it's turned into a great partnership and a great place for us
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
drink bourbon
Wow.
and talk about this. So I don't know. You guys got anything else?
No, I think this is great.
No, this is. Hopefully you've enjoyed this one. This is number 2, but we're going to keep continuing to do this. And August 13th again, we're going to have our next one, which I think will be very exciting. I think this place is going to fill up. We've been pushing it.
Yeah.
Letting everybody know we've got some flyers. We'll put them out as a video so you can see that. And again, if you're online, you join us. It's about education. We're still we give away some merch. We got some really cool stuff. But no, we appreciate it to your distributor of Penelope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, our sponsors, which are help me out.
Standard Beverage.
Standard Beverage and
Yep.
Two Boys in a Tea that creates all of our merchandise.
Yep.
So again, I think that's nothing else. I mean,
No.
I think this has been good. I mean,
Yeah.
I've learned a lot more about cigars. Obviously, just in 2 episodes, definitely picked up a lot of helpful hints. And again, pairing this is it's a if you haven't done it, it's definitely an experience, right? It'll like you've been smoking cigars for quite a long time. You smoke a lot of cigars every day.
Smoked a lot of cigars.
And even you were kind of shocked, I think, with wow, pairing these together
The
was
whiskey changed and the cigar changed
Both
by
of
the
them.
pairing. Yeah.
and not in a bad way.
No,
in a
no,
great
no,
way.
in a great way. No.
So
I'm enjoying this pairing, and I think that this is a good experience to try the whiskey, to try the cigar, and then to try them both together. I think you'll end up with a new experience. out of it.
Yeah, no, I think you get a totally different flavor profile with the
Yeah.
cigar.
So, all right. So, well, this is, we always end this with a little statement, which is, we appreciate you. We ask that you just, subscribe, like our page. We're trying to put out some really good content. If there's anything that you guys think or want to see or hear, let us know. I mean, if there's ideas that you have for us to improve this, we're all about that. So, as we always end this, it's not just about the pour, but the bond it creates. So, appreciate you and happy pours.
Espinosa every day.